The first speaker tonight is Jim Sims. He is delivering a Pathways Dynamic Leadership L1 option, Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language. Tonight, Jim reflects upon both death and aging, trying to discover the secrets of living a full life as the hourglass drains more of the sands of time. Wow. Help me. Unmute yourselves. Everybody unmute yourselves and give Jim a very, very robust and warm round of applause. Let's hear it for Jim Sims.
Round.
As I was getting ready to attend the holiday party, thank you, Shirley Rao, John Morse asked me to be a speaker this evening. And I said, a speaker? I don't even have my green screen yet, let alone the proper microphone. He said, don't worry, you don't need to transform, just be yourself. Now, who can say no to John Morse, 2-time DTM, soon to be 3-time DTM? I can't believe that at all. The challenge was I had a speech title because I had been thinking about it for maybe 2 weeks or so. I had a song, but that's all I had. I had nothing else. I had no words. I had no connection to the audience. I had no uplifting spirit. I just had a title. So I thought, what am I going to do to put meat on the bones? And then I realized that I had read an article on the internet, and it was about Toby Keith attending the 14th annual Clint Eastwood Clint tournament because he was an avid golfer and he had that opportunity to be there with Clint. For 3 days, he was his partner as they competed against other teams. And on the third day, on Saturday, he said to Clint, who at this time was 88 years old, he was talking to him and Clint said, well, on Monday, I've got to head out. I'm doing a movie. And Toby Keith was amazed. He said, you're 88 years old. All you've accomplished, all the wonderful movies that you've done. You're Dirty Harry, for crying out loud. What do you do to get yourself motivated? How are you able to do this? What is your secret? And Clint Eastwood said, I get up every morning, and what I do is I don't let the old man in. And Toby Keith took that and immediately put the concept to words. And on that Monday, when Clint Eastwood had already begun filming his new movie, he sent that video to him. Don't let the old man in. And Clint Eastwood was so impressed with it. He said, this is terrific. This is going to fit right into my movie. And I'm going to use it in its entirety, just as it is. And the movie that Clint Eastwood was working on is called The Mule. And it is a true story about a World War II veteran who became a drug runner for the Mexican cartel. And what the video talked about was about aging and about how you prepare to do that. And it was something that was very, very impressive. Leo Sharp was the person that was the true story, and they changed it in the movie to be the Vietnam War, so it fit a little bit better with Clint Eastwood. Leo Sharp was arrested with 104 kilos of cocaine in the back of his truck, but he was a drug runner for the Mexican cartel for 10 years. And so what did the movie have? What did it begin with? Well, what's amazing is if you look on the internet and you put in that song and look for Toby Keith, you'll find that the best rendition is probably by Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson saw the movie, saw the speech, and he redid the song himself. So it's probably Willie Nelson, Don't Let the Old Man In. And it begins with, don't let the old man in I want to live some more. Can't let him in. He's knocking at my door. And then later it says, many moons I have lived. My body's withered and worn. Ask yourself, how old would you be if you didn't know the day you were born? Pretty profound. How old would you be if you didn't know the age you were born? And I was thinking just to yesterday, I was looking at my Excel spreadsheet about Christmas cards sent and Christmas cards received, and I realized I hadn't received a Christmas card from Artie Griffin. And Artie Griffin is someone who I played softball with beginning in the 1980s. I met him at a basketball alumni event at St. John's. Even my son Brian, who was 6 or 7 at the time, played on our team. And I found out that he died suddenly in July of this year, and he was 79 years old. Another softball player who recently passed away was Billy Cedos. Billy was a florist working in Elmhurst, Queens, at the florist that his father founded in 1945. I knew he had lung cancer, and in November he succumbed after 2 years of battling lung cancer. Some of you may remember a short time ago, I talked about Mr. Kindman. I spoke about my college roommate, Jason Cotter, who died in October of pancreatic cancer. And he was somebody who was also, I played on his softball teams in Rockville Center, and he was the one who got me into umpiring in 1992. And then early in the year, in March of 2021, my brother Richie, he passed away. And he had been my roommate for 10 years when we grew up in Queens Village before he left to get married at the age of 21. And so I'm thinking back to losing, these were my boys of summer. And if you think about Roger Kahn wrote that book about the Brooklyn Dodgers, the boys of summer. And when I think about it, it was Jay and it was Artie and it was Billy, who were, as Jock Elliott would say, they were friends of my times. And my brother Richie, he would be a friend of my blood. And then I think about how the song goes a little bit further. Toby Keith says, try to love on your wife and stay close to your friends. Toast each sundown with wine and don't let the old man in. My wife of 52 years, Tina, is my rock, my friend, my confidant, the person who looked at this speech and said, it's much too long, cut it here, cut it there, as she often does. She's very, very powerful. So as my magical 75th birthday approaches, I pledge to treasure friends and to toast more sunsets. And the song goes, when he rides on his horse and you feel that cold, bitter wind, look out your window and smile and don't let the old man in. Look out your window and smile and don't let the old man in.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And Mr. Jim Sims, what a wonderful speech. I am not familiar with Clint Eastwood or Toby Keith, but the background information that you provided was sufficient enough to equip anyone who was unfamiliar about both of these individuals, who I believe is a singer and songwriter and an actor. You provide an exemplar description regarding their background, and it was beautiful for you to expand upon the words of Toby Bryant. You used impactful repetition through repeatedly mentioning and accentuating upon Toby Keith's words, don't let the old man in. And I believe it elucidates, your speech elucidated the lesson of life, which was to never let go of that passion within you and to never allow yourself to get old, to always be young at heart. And you supported this message quite strongly with the factual information that you provided about both Toby Keith and Clint Eastwood. It was also very touching how you signified your wife to be the rock of your life. You drew a quite vivid symbolic analogy between your wife and her being a rock in your life, which signified how she is the source of unwavering support, and that undying passion that she provides to you. Also, what I found to be a little bit distracting was the background. In the forthcoming, I would recommend you either set a background that is, I believe it would be effective for you to instill a background image that aligns or overlaps with the message or the essence of your speech, which will help expand the message that you're trying to impart. And also, this is something I've heard from other evaluators also, is that I would recommend for you to maybe try standing in the future while you're giving a speech. I believe that just adds more authority to the words that you're saying. And overall, what I found interesting was how you drew a comparison between something so broad, which was the background that you provided about Clint Eastwood and Toby Keith, with the personal experiences that you had. It was interesting how you mentioned and detailed you keeping a Excel spreadsheet of those who you sent the season's greeting card to and those whom you received, and particularly one person that you didn't receive a card passed away in July of this year. It was, I think, drawing an alignment between the background information that you provided as well as your personal information put the overall message into a better and more enhanced perspective for the audience. And overall, everything about your speech was so clear and structured in an organized manner that it really allowed the structure of your speech to flow from an area of broad knowledge to specificity. And that's what I loved about your speech. Thank you.